It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyrone Lowe. This is my show, The Legends. I thank you guys for tuning in, subscribing, and giving me all that love around the world. Today on my show, I have somebody that actually writes, produces. He's also a singer, and he has a history. And I welcome to the show, The Legends, Terry Harris. What's going on, Terry? How are you today?
Doing fine, Tyrone. Thanks for having me, sir.
All right. So, we're going to talk about you and in the beginning of when you actually started singing, were you a child or were you influenced by, other vocalists? So tell the viewers about the beginning.
I've always loved music as a child. My mom sang, so I heard singing as early as I could remember. So always was listening to radio, playing. I'm doing my age now, LPs and 45s, and but I never kind of stepped out. I always kind of stayed in the background because, again, my mother sang, my brother and my sister, she sang, so I was just a background singer. And it just kind of went from there. I got a bug like in junior high school. A friend of mine, Emerald Stuckey, got me to do a talent show. And you know how when you get that rush, I was
Right.
shy, but when I got on stage and just saw the reaction to the crowd when I sang, I was like, okay, I think this is where I'm supposed to be. Because prior to then, I was always okay with just singing in the background. So it kind of sparked around, I would say, the 8th grade when I was in junior high school.
Okay. And as a child, what artists were you listening to actually, give you some type of energy?
Everybody,
Okay.
I'm a big Prince fan, but back in the day, and that's the difference. I always tell people today, like my son has I bought him a record player. He listens to Marvin Gaye, uh, all the way up to the new artists today. So I
Right.
grew up listening to Ozzy Brothers, and at that time, AM radio,
Hmm.
Rick Dees. I'm listening to pop acts, so that was gospel, pop,
Right.
country, R&B. So I had a lot of influences to listen to.
And so, what point did you actually, say to yourself, "Well, I'm going to take this to a serious level and really start recording and see if I can really make something out of this"?
Uh, I started recording early, and like I said, I go back to the Barcades. Alan Jones, who produced the Barcades, I used to go over and sit with Alan Jones,
Hmm.
and he would show me how to, how he would put records together.
Right.
So I've been doing it a long time. Even legendary Bobby OJ, who just passed away, he
Hmm.
used to have listening day on Wednesdays. So what I would do is would go down to radio station with my new records,
Right.
and I would, Bobby was kind enough to kind of take me up under his wing, and I
Hmm.
would go sit there and play records and listen. So it kind of took, I think it was a while before I kind of got the groove, but because I had to get the criticism, and people
Right.
said, "Well, that is cool, but it's not this." So I had to learn. So a lot of guys today I went through grooming and learning how to make a record with Eric Shotwell and Archie Love, guys who produced me. So it took a long time for me to get there. And I think the breaking of it was I went through a personal experience, young, a divorce.
Hmm.
And I remember coming in the studio and the guy said, "Okay, now you're becoming an artist," because I was putting my life story into this music.
Right.
So I was speaking about my divorce, my child, just what I was going through, and it turned into the conviction of an artist versus at one
Right.
point I was just writing records and just singing over the top.
So at that point, you're writing and you're producing and things of that through your personal experience. Did it give you any type of closure?
Uh, yeah, it's therapeutic for me because even if I'm going through something in the house,
All right.
uh, I think if you go back and listen to my album, The Evolution of Me, it's about relationships. So I took what I had gone through, and it's therapeutic because that's my way of getting away to where most people write or find something to release it. I can come in the studio and just take all that energy and put it into a record. So the songs "Me Against You," "Misunderstanding," "All Messed Up," those are about relationships, and then I get to where we should be.
Hmm.
So for me, it's the release. So whatever I'm going through, or whatever I see on TV, say whatever the social issues are,
Right.
I can deal with it in here instead of just just having it inside of me and turning into rage. I can just put it on record, and once I do that, I'm good.
As far as writing, and have you written for any other artists besides yourself?
Rough Hands.
Mhm.
I actually sang background on it. A lot of people can't tell because of my voice. I was
Right.
able to manipulate my voice. We did a song called "If It Wasn't For Rough Hands."
Mhm.
I worked with Michael Malden, Jermaine Dupri's father. So there were songs that my production partner Gerald Allen. We had songs pulled by Jaheim. We worked with B2K, and you kind of know how the industry is. You kind of get on projects, and it's politics. So that was another reason why Gerald and I was sitting down one day.
Right.
And he said, "Hey man, we've been writing for people for a long time.
Mhm.
Why don't you just start being an artist?" And I was like, "Well, I don't plan to produce
I
it."
hear that.
He was like, "But you know how to do it. You know how to perform.
Right.
And so for what was going on, I think it had to wait. And I think it was just a time in the industry where it opened the door for me to say, you know what, let me put a record out. And I put one out, and of course, it just kind of took off over in the UK market, brother.
It's good to know that there's always somebody to break you out of your shell,
Right.
and try to give you that spark. Because sometimes in life itself, we just don't know what our purposes are sometimes until we're actually manipulated into it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So my thing to you is that let's talk about your very first performance in front of a major crowd, and how did you feel about that, and what was the actual feedback behind that?
At the time they were doing talent shows. So
Right.
Cameo had a song called "Why Have I Lost You." At the time, I had a
Mhm.
falsetto, so I could, So when I got ready to sing, because I'm doing the steps. When I got ready to sing, and I stepped up and sang that first part, this part with "Wait a Minute, I'm Still Lonely," and I saw the crowd, especially the girls, go
Right.
crazy. That was it for me, man. Like I said, I was like, you know what? I think I'm on to something. So from there, I got the bug to where, I really got heavily into music. Like I said, a good friend of mine, Emerald Stuckey, he would always push me and say, "Hey, man, you can do it." And because I was just kind
Right.
of like out of the church, so I wasn't used to just breaking out. I was just kind of, at the church I was in, you could perform, but you
Mhm.
couldn't perform like you in the R&B market. So it's a little bit different.
Let's take it further up to current events. As far as recording artists now, who are you listening to?
Oh man. Because it's kind of hard because I'm always working on something.
Right.
Uh, Let me see who I'm a fan
Well,
of.
I'm gonna convert that into saying like this: if you had to really work with a current event artist right now, who would you think that you want to be? Who would you want to work with?
Definitely Babyface.
Okay.
I would have loved. No, Prince would be my first because I'm a lifelong fan of Prince.
Right.
I love to do a duet with Jill Scott.
Hmm.
Gladys Knight is my favorite singer also. So there would be a couple here today that I would love to do a record with. Also
Right.
because of the comparisons, I would love to do a record with Eddie LeVert. I think that would be to
Yeah,
me.
I think that would be fabulous because
Right,
of the voice syncage.
right,
When I first listened to your tracks when I got them, I was like, wow, because I really didn't. I was listening to them,
right,
and I said to myself, I this is Levert. And then when I
right.
really got to know that you did it, I see that you was actually paying homage to him.
Right.
So briefly, let's talk about that.
I've gotten so much support from his fans. The G5G, his fan club, Gloria Newsom, Twyla,
Hmm.
and Reba have supported me. They allowed me to grow because a lot of people thought I was just being an impersonator without understanding. Hey, I had records out in the UK. Actually, Two Can Play went #1 in the UK, and then
Right.
it went #1 in Chicago in the steppers market. That's
Hmm.
when I met Eric Nolan from the OJs. So it was my way of telling his fans, for what you do for me. This was because it says dedication to having the G5G and G Spot. So I wanted to give back to his fans. So that was my reason for doing that EP.
It's a good thing that sometimes when an artist is cast away that somebody gives them an actual rebirth.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and I think is a very productive thing. You know,
Right.
Sometimes when a artist is passed on, somewhere along the line we forget about them, and then suddenly
Right.
somebody comes along and just reboot them all over again and be like,
Right.
wow, you know,
Right.
it's so phenomenal.
I actually just had that conversation with somebody. I said, we're throwing
Okay.
away legendary music because I had to go learn a lot of drill, you know, a lot of his catalog. I knew
Right.
the regular songs. And I said, here it is. This guy's a legendary, amazing singer.
Right.
And take me out of the equation. If
Mhm.
I wasn't out there singing, people wouldn't be talking about a great singer. It's
Right.
scary because R&B now is dying. So I tell people, hey man, y'all got to support this music because if I didn't take on to say, okay, I'm going to put it on my shoulder, I don't mind you comparing me to Joe Levert because I know
Right.
the bigger goal is this guy's legendary.
That's
So
right. Most
I'm
likely.
humbled to be close in proximity to have talked to Eddie Levert, to meet his family. So, you know, we gotta, like you said, this guy's legendary. Take me out of the equation. It's not him. It's just we kind of moved on versus dude got some hits, man.
That's right. Well, listen, we're gonna we'll be right back. We're gonna listen to something by Terry, and so you guys listen to it, give him some support, and we'll be right back.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
We got some fun people in the house tonight.
This is our house.
How y'all doing out there? Can I take you back for a moment? One of my favorite songs by the late great Joe Levert.
You're the reason why I sing all of life's finer things like rainbows and shining stars.
Baby, you are. Come on, y'all. Yeah. I said, baby, you are. Before you came around, I asked myself, what is this thing called love? There were clouds and the rain kept falling down. Then you brought the sun, yes you did. Show me the difference between a woman and a girl. That's when I knew I would be a good man. With you inside my world, my world. Come on, y'all. Everybody's blowing smoke, yeah.
Friends say that we ain't
They're just hating on us.
I know they want what I got.
It only comes once in a lifetime. Sing this song.
Reason why I sing all of life's finer things
Like rainbows.
shining stars.
Baby, you are girl.
Reason why I sing all of life's finer things
Like diamond rings.
fancy clothes.
Baby, you are. Listen, y'all. I was a bad seed. Hit it right there. You came and nourished me and encouraged me. I grew tall as a tree, girl. You had patience to search, find and bring out all the best in me. Yes, you did. See things that I could not see. My mental potential, girl, you showed me. Yeah. Now it's a reality, and I promise you, I'm gonna be all that I can be. Na 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 na.
Take a toll.
Well. Everybody's blowing smoke. Yeah.
really down, playing the games you do. Someday, everything will be alright. Deals and different people make the world go round.
Because of you, my dreams are coming true.
That erases my rainy day.
Right now, I don't care who's watching.
For whatever the reason there might be.
With your love by my side, the world will be mine. You're the one for me.
And we're back. My name is Tyrone Lowe. This is my show, The Legends. And my guest today is Terry Harris. Hey, Terry.
Yes, sir.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, if somebody say to you to define what a love song is, what would you say? What would you say to them?
To me, a love song has to go through, it has to be love, first of all. It has to be written in love, understanding, patience, and commitment to it. That's just my version. So when I write a love song, it's got to be, like I said, those three elements. Because I think a love song should always be healing. You know, it should be healing. And like if you listen to Marvin Gaye, sexual healing, there's so many elements in that record that make it relevant for the rest. You know, it's got, it's sexual understanding, the passion, the whole 9 yards. So you got to put it all in that element, which I think today a lot of it is missing out of R&B music. R&B music now is just directed strictly sexually. Because back in the day, Prince could do a record and he could give you a broader stroke of the picture versus one element. And he was definitely a sexually driven artist at that time, but it just didn't stick there. The story was, International Lover or Baby. When you sit back and listen to the records, he just gave you the elements of love. Or Earth, Wind, and Fire. So I mean, I could go on all day with the older artists who did that music.
So, are you just doing R&B and love songs, or are you considering other genres of music that you might just want to put your hands into?
I mainly do R&B. I don't, I leave the hip hop to the hip hop guys. I'm okay. At 55, I'm okay with my lane.
Okay.
I do have because I came from that element.
Right.
Matter of fact, Ron Grant out of New York. I was in New York off and on for about 5 years. I actually had moved to Inglewood, New Jersey. So I was up and I was really influenced by New York music. I just hearing the house music there just reminded me of spots I was going to back in the day up in New York, and the house music was jumping. I mean, just bouncing. So for me, I can produce those elements, but for me, it's mostly R&B, because I think that's the foundation. I think everybody needs to be able to go back. Like I went back and pulled up Gerald Lepert, Baby You Are, and Mr. Too Damn Good, as you see, Bruno Mars did Confunction, and all of a sudden it's a hit again. Well, it's always a hit,
My question to you is that, it's not really a question. It's something that I want you to actually relate to. I usually ask all my artists and all my guests on my show. So through your experiences, they have a lot of new artists coming up and they might be in different crafts. And, can you actually give them some type of advice of encouragement of where they're supposed to be at or what they need to know about what's going on with the industry?
Right. I know they have to go through trial and error. They have to learn the game. I would just say, hey, be a student of the game. I've done some records where I've rapped on records and kind of said some things. I look back now and said, wow, man, I was just, but as artists, you want to be free to be creative. Right. So I would tell them, hey, study the game, study people before you. Because I think that's missing a lot of, I talk to a lot of young artists. They really know nothing about the history of music. They just kind of jumped in, even if it's rap, go back all the way to, Sugar Hill, go all the way back to Curtis Blow, the Furious Five, It's Like a Jungle. Go back to those records, because if you listen to Kendrick Lamar, he knows the game. J. Cole, they know the game. Even Jay-Z, people always criticize this man for studying legends. It's like, look at how he came from where he was, which people were laughing at him, but he was studying the game. So when you say, okay, he was ripping Biggie, if you're gonna rip from the best. It's like with
Right.
me, I had to go back and study Gerald Levert. I'm like, okay, let me study Gerald, Eddie, the OJs, Teddy, singers with that voice, because I had to go
Right.
back and learn that. So I would tell these guys, hey man, be a student of the game.
My thing is, I think that homework is always in order for
Right.
any craft that it's like a video game. You have to learn the fundamentals of it. Am I
Right.
correct?
Right. Right.
Terry, let's tell the viewers about any upcoming events. Are you touring, or are you releasing anything that's going to be new? Or, tell the viewers about, your current events.
Okay, I'm working on a new EP, which is probably going to be about 4 or 5 songs. I'm actually going to be in Atlanta with Hope Flood, I think on the 9th, either the 6th or the 9th, and I'm in South Carolina. I'm at a festival in Humboldt, a festival in Indiana, and I just left Cleveland, and I'll be back in Cleveland August the 20th along with Danny Clay for 2 shows. So we got, I think months of September and August, we're all booked up. So I got a break here. So that's why I'm actually in the studio. So when I'm done with this interview, I'm working on 2 songs here. So the dates are picking up, and I'm definitely grateful to the fans. And I want to say to the fans, I got 5,000 on my personal page, and on the fan page, now we got about 1.5 thousand. We got to get them to go out and buy the music, because everything we do needs to be supported. Even what you guys do, we do this for love, but for me, this is actually why I'm working on like the last project for me, because I think I have 5 singles, 2 albums. I'm sorry, 2 albums, EP, and this is my last EP, because it's a lot to finance these projects. It's a lot.
So let me ask you a question. Have the music industry, from when you started to now, has it made any type of transition as far as the business aspects of it?
When the music industry left, it hurt a lot of people, because a lot of artists just think like artists. And that's why I say, even with bringing up the next guy, the label would have done it without you. And now the guys, I call them gatekeepers, instead of them saying, hey man, this music has to live beyond me, most of them are just touring to, again, we're fans of theirs. But what happens when you're not here? Just like we spoke about Gerald Levert, he didn't claim not to be here, but I'm honored that I can be a part of his legacy of building his name. I just sang at the award show with Dennis Cash, and I didn't realize Gerald Levert's family was on the front row.
Wow,
they got
that must have been amazing.
Yeah, they got so emotional. It was Sean's daughter, I think. They got so emotional that they had to escort him out. So when I'm coming off stage, they're in the back. This lady said, "You got the family crying," and I'm like, "What family?"
Wow,
the Levert family. I said, "Man," because I did a song by Gerald, and it's humbling, but it's also, I don't want the family to be upset.
Right.
I want them to rejoice in his legacy.
Well, I'm sure Eddie them understand. They're artists themselves, so I'm sure that they would sink in with that. I'm going to say this, Terry. It's been an honor having you on my show.
Definitely.
And you're very informative, and I wish you Godspeed, man, with the best of success.
Definitely.
It's good to know that your story is very intriguing, and it's good to know that you're really putting your heart and your passion into where it's at.
Oh, yeah.
So come back, come back to the show, man. And a year from now, 2 years from now, I'll still be around. Just come on through, and we'll talk about some updates. So it's been a pleasure having you on my show. So we're going to close with a track from Terry, and you guys go out there, support him. You heard that. You hear where he's going to be at. You go out there and support him, and make him feel good.
Also, stop by the fan page. Welcome to number 2, the Terry Harris Experience.
Okay, so this has been another T-Love video production. This is the show The Legends, and we see you guys later. Terry, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Same here.
It's not just mine, it's on her house. This is our house.
We got some fun people in the house tonight.
Guess you never knew a good thing till it's right in your face. 'Cause you've been abused for so long. Love is faded and all seems the same. I guess it's unbelievable someone can love you like me. 'Cause time ain't no object and money ain't a thing. When you hurt someone to ease the pain, I wanna be the smile on your face, be your stars in your mood. I wanna be your sunny day. Can I be your favorite too? I wanna be your baby. I'll be your Mr. Too Damn Good to you. You've been hurt so many times till you don't know when love is real. So you don't open up or give in to love or express how you feel. And just like Sunday morning, oh, I'm gonna take it easy. I'm gonna wait on you. Something just ain't right without you by my side. Baby, you're my soulmate. Baby, I'll open doors. Be there for you anytime. That's what your man is supposed to do. And I will come for you. Girl, my whole objective is to please you. I'll run your world around. Girl, through thick and thin, I've got your back sheet.
For the love of house,
the dynamic soul sounds of
for the love
DJ
of dance.
Tyrone Lowe. DJ Tyrone Lowe. DJ Tyrone Lowe.
That's nice.
DJ Tyrone Lowe. The dynamic soul sounds of DJ Tyrone Lowe.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.